Those are the Killers. An absolutely gorgeous and perfect Monday morning. Welcome to the world's most beautiful beach city, the world's most beautiful community, Laguna Beach. We sit on the corner of Ocean and South Coast Highway directly across from the iconic Lifeguard Tower, and delighted to have you with us. It's time for the conversation this morning, and we welcome you here. I got to just start off by saying that when we talk about city projects and future plans and maintaining our sense of history and growth and responsibility, I've observed that we rarely focus on the nuts and bolts of the driving force behind all of those things and much more. The duty of a treasurer is as important a responsibility as any position in government, whether it's city or county or state or national. It is also, unfortunately, among the least sexy of all government duties. And therefore, the importance of the minutia that's often involved escapes us. For a lot of us, it's just too much math involved to pay close enough attention to it. We just hope that we hire someone that we can trust who's good at it. And for over 20 years, Laguna Beach has trusted Laura Parisi as our city treasurer. And financially, our city is better for it. Recently, she submitted a revision to the budget that would increase investment income, but that increase was excluded from the staff report. And the increase is ongoing and significant. So in for the conversation to talk to us about the surplus and her thoughts on the exclusion, as well as other things involving the city treasurer's office, is Laura Parisi. We welcome Laura to the program this morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm fine, and thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for being here today. You can't get a better location to sit down and have a chat.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah,
you're
so,
right.
Thank you. So this is we're in a time of transition for the city. We'll have a new city manager, hopefully arriving soon. The acting interim city manager left us last Friday. We're recruiting for a new community development director. We're soon going to be recruiting for a director of finance and technology following Julie Nemz's departure in a few weeks. So the city has a significant surplus because of high-performing investments that you placed, and you predict those will continue. Yet the city's budget has not been adjusted to reflect that. It was excluded from the staff report. Why do you think that is?
The note that I got from future city manager Gavin Kern indicated that they weren't certain on how to allocate the surplus. It's $940,000.
Right. Okay, that's a significant amount.
Yes.
So, is that would you couch that as being a fairly reasonable response in that we don't know how to allocate it?
No, there are a lot of things like that you have a method of allocation set for interest, and I don't understand why they couldn't use the existing method of allocation to report the increase.
Okay, and have you contacted acting city manager Curran on this and maybe sit down and chat about it?
Well, we exchanged emails, and the ultimate decision was to exclude it from the budget revision.
Okay.
But they'll take a look at it again when in the upcoming budget.
Okay, and the strategy behind the investment itself. So interest rates have increased, and as securities matured, you've reinvested at the much higher interest rate. And have you gotten, when you invested, did you get any pushback from either city council or Sean Joyce, who was at the time acting city manager, or Mr. Curran?
When I reinvest the funds, no. I have not gotten any pushback. When the city went through COVID, interest rates were at an all-time low, generally under 1%.
Right.
But today, it's very easy to get short-term funds over 5%.
Okay.
So, no, I haven't gotten a pushback on reinvesting funds as they become available.
Okay. And as I mentioned, you've held the office for over 20 years. What's the exact number?
24 years.
24 years that you've been our city treasurer. And with all of the fiscally responsible and successful investments over these last 24 years, currently the city is poised to move investment responsibilities from you, our city treasurer, to a consultant, which some cities do. Now, who made this decision? Were you consulted? Has it been made yet? And has anyone explained their logic behind the move to you?
The good news is the decision has not been made yet. The city council asked a committee to take a look at either outsourcing investments or continuing with the existing program. That committee only looked at outsourcing investments. They did not allow me to present the current program to them. They refused that offer that I had made.
Okay. And if I were to ask your qualifications to do investments, what would they be?
Well, I have a lot of qualifications.
Okay.
I've gone through the training, the typical California treasurer training. I am a certified California municipal treasurer and a certified fixed income practitioner. I have experience with Laguna Beach and the Laguna Beach cash flows I've had 24 years of experience with that.
Right.
And then prior to treasurer, I'm a certified public accountant out of the firm Coopers & Lybrand.
Okay.
I specialized in insurance, and we got investment training through the insurance program of Coopers & Lybrand. And I've managed investments at various companies that I worked for prior to the city of Laguna Beach.
Okay. And could you see an advantage or a disadvantage to hiring a consultant? How do you see it?
Well, actually, there are both advantages and disadvantages, and what it really boils down to is does a city have the expertise in-house to do the investing? And I think that the city, I'd like to think it does. I certainly have worked very hard to live up to the tremendous honor that I have in managing the investment program for Laguna Beach. The advantage to manage in-house is that I know the city's cash flows, I know the ins and outs. How can an outside advisor know what's happening in Laguna Beach, in the city, what the cash flows are? I can do something called targeted investing, where I match the investments with the cash flow needs of the city. And also, last, something that I like, I made the change to city treasurer as a lifestyle choice. The money that you spend on investing or the money that the city spent on the city treasurer was spent in Laguna Beach as opposed to being spent out of town.
Right.
So I really like that idea of spending the money locally.
Okay. And if there was a registered investment advisor, an outside consultant, would they really be essentially a middleman or a buffer?
They are exactly that. They would be a middleman. There's something called a fiduciary responsibility that goes along with investing, and hiring an investment advisor doesn't alleviate the person who's assigned with the investing authority of that fiduciary responsibility. It's just a middleman.
Okay. And from my understanding, if it were an outside consultant, they would likely have direct access to the more expansive market systems like a Bloomberg than a smaller mid-sized city would. Would you have those same? Would you have that same access?
I don't have access in-house, but I have 6 approved brokers who all have access to those types of resources, and I can get that information from any of those brokers at any time.
Okay. And over the course of the last several years, how much do trades cost us?
Trades don't cost the city anything. The price that we're quoted is the price that we pay. Another interesting point, while I spend about a third of my time on investing, not a single hour has ever been given to either me as treasurer or the prior treasurer to for the role of investing. Whereas an outside advisor would have a fee associated with them. And, the cities that are close by actually have staff that have to work with that advisor. And I know that's a cost that needs to be taken into account as well.
Okay.
The staff that they have, for example, in Newport Beach is actually more than the time that I spend doing a complete program.
All right. And so in order for an outsider, a consultant, to manage our portfolio, what just a round number of what those fees might be?
The fees I'm hearing are about $80,000,
Okay.
but that does not include the cost of a staff person that would serve as liaison. The outside consultant would not know what the city's cash flows are, so you would need to have staff in-house to work with that consultant. So that would be an increase over what you have today, which is a zero cost for the actual investing, and I absorb the role of cash flow as part of my job because I'm also tasked with banking of the city.
Right. And we talked about current acting city manager, Gavin Curran, having responded to you by email. He responded in part by stating that a revised investment forecast wasn't included due to the uncertainty of the final general fund portion. And he cited implied market adjustments. So my question is, there's two really. Has the budget ever included market adjustments as is, or has the monthly investment report ever included market adjustments?
Never.
Okay.
Never. No city anywhere in the state, or that I've seen in Illinois, I also practiced in Illinois, has ever put a market adjustment in a budget. So that is a ridiculous thing to say.
Okay.
The only time market adjustments do come into play is once a year when an ACFR, an annual report, is prepared. That adjustment is not maintained in the books of the city. It's literally reversed same day it's put in.
Okay. Did you reply to him with that response?
I did.
Okay. And did he reply to you
No.
further? No? Okay. As we sit here today, the Director of Finance and Technology Services, Julie Nems, is coming just as the city's preparing the budget for the next fiscal year. Should the Finance Department seek you out for consultation with the budget? And if so, do you think they will?
I wish they would, but I don't think that they haven't in the past. But I wish they would ask for my assistance. I have almost 20 years of experience in preparing budgets in industry, and of course 24 years in preparing and reviewing the budget for the city of Laguna Beach, or preparing my portion, the little tiny city treasurer portion of the budget.
Okay. And as a guest as a listener was passing by moments ago, you had a conversation with him, and he said, "Hey, how's the city doing?" And you explained it in a really unique way of why we have an advantage here in the city. Can you tell our listeners that?
Sure. One of the advantages that we have in Laguna is our wonderful revenue sources. We have a wonderful revenue source from property taxes,
Right.
which is very steady. And we all know our housing prices are climbing, so that's very good for the city. But we also have something that it's called transient occupancy tax, the hotel tax.
Okay.
Now, that's something that's unique in California because hotels you're not charged sales tax on hotels. Instead, there's transient occupancy tax. And with that, 100% of transient occupancy taxes flow through to the city, as opposed to part of it being given to the state or the county.
Okay. Oh, those are advantages for sure.
Very big advantages,
yeah.
yes.
I'm going to go back to Mr. Curran's response to you, and part of that was that he says that based on the most recent investment report, the city's investments are still navigating an unrealized loss of approximately $7 million, down from the $10.4 million that was reported in June of 2023. What unrealized loss is he talking about there?
You know what? He really. There is no unrealized loss in the portfolio. On one hand, he's right that the value of an investment made during or after COVID at a low interest rate environment is lower than the value of an investment made today. But that's not how an unrealized loss is calculated. What he was referring to is the market adjustment that happens once a year when you prepare an annual report. The city's policy is to hold our investments till maturity, and with that, there would be no unrealized loss. Instead, we get all of our principal back with our very safe investments, plus any interest, which is the market rate of interest at the time that the investments are made. And there is no loss on those investments as he's implying.
Okay. So as I look at the $940,000 that we're talking about here, he closes his email to you by saying, however, investment returns exceeding estimates, which is that, will be acknowledged at the end of the fiscal year and highlighted as savings in next year's financial update and mid-year budget report. So I think my question to you is that not a satisfactory outcome?
I don't know why we would wait.
Okay.
I can't think of a good reason to wait. It's the funds, the $940,000 for the most part is actually recorded in the city books. It's money in the bank.
Okay. And have you, or do you intend to maybe schedule some sit-downs with Mr. Curran and the City Council, or will you be pressing this further?
To the extent possible.
Okay.
To the extent possible.
Okay. And what's generally on your docket for the day? When you wake up in the morning, what's your first thought that comes to mind that you've got to do, your first responsibility, if you will, for the city?
My day always, as city treasurer, starts with cash flow and banking. Okay. I watch what happened in the city's bank accounts. I look at the activity that's gone on the prior day, and I evaluate what the city's cash flows are, and are there funds available to invest or reinvest.
Okay, and more than likely an outside consultant would have other responsibilities, not just our city, but other cities or maybe another municipality that they're worried about. You're specifically concerned with our cash flow.
That's correct, and that's the advantage of an in-house program. That targeted investing does yield higher returns because you're able to invest more of the funds. It also helps in keeping a contingent money excess funds,
right,
a contingency at a lower level, as opposed to when you outsource, you would need a higher contingency just because there's a time lag between the cash flows and the actual cash flows and communicating those cash flows to an outside consultant.
Okay, beautifully stated. Thank you. So could you ever see yourself as a consultant for another municipality? And I would imagine that one of the advantages to being an outside consultant is that you're removed from political opponents and from public input and all of that, right?
Sure, I'm sure I could do that, but my love is Laguna Beach. I actually, in COVID, I assisted the county treasurer with the role of the director of investments for the county of Orange. And I got to work with the county staff and their investments. I also served as the assistant treasurer tax collector, which that director of investments reports to. Now the county treasury, it's a whole different ball game. 16 billion versus our 140, 150, 160 million. Right. I found myself, as I would start in the city and then spend the afternoons at the county, and I found myself to make that transition between the numbers, I'd have to count commas.
Right.
Because you're looking at and trying to digest so much financial information so quickly. I found that counting commas was a an easy way to remember which environment I was in.
Right. I would imagine so. So you even after 24 years in office, you continue to your education. You are constantly trying to better yourself educationally. What have you done lately?
Absolutely. Well, the most recent thing, I attended a seminar in February put on by the State Treasurer's Office, CDAC, and the California Municipal Treasurers Association. It was the fundamentals of Treasury. And I always learned something there, but I've been at this so long, I actually was able to do one of the sessions, the day-to-day investment of public funds. It was a panel of 3 treasurer types. I represented cities, and we had the county of San Diego there, and then a water district from San Francisco.
Okay. All right. And you used to be able to give us that type of reporting on your latest education during the city council meetings. They would come to you and say, now we're going to get a report from the city treasurer. That no longer happens. And you're no longer on the dais. And I've said here before, me personally, I just think that the dais should be only city council, not even city attorney, not city clerk, but just the council members. So I'm not really asking so much the removal of the dais, but the removal of your ability to speak before city council. Do you miss that?
I wish we still had it. And, if it really didn't take very much time. And I think there was valuable information, not just about the training, but for example, we have an assessment district coming up, and we're going to carve out some of the bonds, or the underwriter has carved out some of the bonds. It would be nice to let the citizens know during that period that there is an opportunity perhaps to buy Laguna Beach bonds, or really any tidbit related to property tax payments. I wish I still had that forum, and I really don't think it took that much time away from council meetings.
So if I wanted to buy Laguna Beach bonds, what would happen? What would I need to do?
You would need to communicate with me, and I would give your name to the underwriter, and you would work directly with the city's underwriter to for the purchase of those bonds. The bonds are not being sold by the city, but they're being sold by the underwriter. We just wanted to make sure that residents of Laguna Beach had a chance to buy the bonds if they wanted to, as opposed to having someone up in any other place snap up all our bonds and not have anything left for residents.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. And this is probably the dumbest question anyone's ever asked you, because I don't know. But if I bought bonds today, I would buy them at the current interest rates?
You would buy city bonds at the rates stated by the underwriter.
Okay. Sorry, my phone's going off there. That's me. Okay, so the and the underwriter is not necessarily the interest rate, right?
The underwriter is the firm that markets the bonds.
Okay.
The price of the bonds is negotiated between the city and the underwriter. The city, and I hopefully will get to participate in that, but the city will argue for the lowest rate possible.
Okay.
Because those bonds are what's financing the newest assessment district.
Okay.
Even at those low rates, though, some people just like to hold local
bonds.
Okay.
Your next couple of weeks, what does your next couple of weeks look like? Any more classes coming up? Any more education you're going to be taking over the next couple of weeks or months?
Well, there's a treasurers conference coming up, a California Municipal Treasurers Conference coming up. But my next couple of weeks are going to be pretty busy with budget and there's a lot going on with investing and the possible outsourcing. I'll spend a lot of time on that. I do feel quite strongly that it would be in the city's best interest to keep the investments in-house. So I want to make sure I put together the best case that I can.
Okay.
for the council.
And you will be presenting that case to the council?
I hope they give me an opportunity to. I know it. I can at least talk at public comment.
Okay. All right. Laura Parisi, our city treasurer for 24 years. This conversation has been a long time in coming. I'm delighted that you chose an opportunity today to come on in. I thank you very much for it. If our listeners, if the citizens of Laguna Beach wanted to get in touch with you about anything specific, how do they do that?
My email address is lparisi@lagunabeachcity.net. Please send me an email, or you can call me 949-497-0327.
Laura Parisi, City of Laguna Beach, City Treasurer, thank you so very much for being here for the conversation.
Thank you for having me.
All right, 11:27 the time. It's the Mornings with Ed show on the all-new Voice of Laguna.